So it looks like we're finally getting another Civilization Rise of Kingdoms, and a pretty big update to come with it as well. So in today's video, we're going to be going over pretty much what that's going to mean for the game, both for this new civilization and the other things that are going to be coming along with it. But without further ado, let's get started. So first, let's cover the big news. We're getting a new civilization. It's going to be Greece. Judging by the fact that the most famous unit in Greek history is the Hoplite or Hoplites, depending on how you want to pronounce it, it's probably going to be an infantry civilization, although there is a slight possibility that they use something like the Capadian cavalry for Alexander the Great, which would be calves. But then, most likely, it's going to be an infantry civ. Chances are through these events you're going to be able to get a civilization change. It's what it's been for Egypt, it's what it's been for the Vikings, so it'll probably be the same for the Greeks. You're going to have 7 days of quests. Chances are this is going to be just little tasks like, increase your building power, increase your technical power, and just general AP expenditure, for example. Hellenic Epic and Aegean Blooms is probably going to be the Alliance event where you're donating items and you have a shop where you can buy legendary sculptures, epic equipment materials, etc. Protected Supplies will be running, and chances are it'll offer items for Hellenic Epic. Same for Soroli Assault. I recommend if you could do both those events, do them. Even if you just complete to the Alliance, the individual achievement rewards or the event rewards, totally worth it. Sign-in spoils is probably going to be very much like the current Kingdom Honor. With the number of logins, you'll get just a number of heads, but instead of for Mulan like we have right now, it'll be for the new commander for the Greeks. So Tempest Clash is going to be nice too in the Alliance quiz. Tempest Clash is kind of time consuming if you're not very good at it, but if you have the time, I recommend you go after it because those gold heads add up when you have several days of them. And the Alliance quiz is great because you can basically do it with your Alliance. It just takes some time, and you can actually work together to get the answers. If you have somebody who's very knowledgeable, it is very helpful. Music and Muses is going to be an art event, and it's going to be something outside of the game where it's based on your response and you might get rewards. But if you're not artistic, like I'm not, it's probably not something that you're going to pay a lot of attention to. The Treasures of Pyrrhus is going to probably be a lot like the Margaret Invicta event. So it's going to be there's going to be probably a spending path where you can spend money to unlock it, and there's probably going to be some other options. But honestly, if there is, I don't recommend you go after it, because Pyrrhus is going to be a gold key commander, so he's going to be like Martel or like any other commander that you can get just from tavern chests. So on the jump would be nice, it's probably not going to be impactful for most players. In fact, further down, you'll see that Pyrrhus is actually going to get his own museum relic, so he's probably not going to be the greatest on release anyway. In addition, you'll have the new Epic Commander Pericles, who will also probably be an infantry commander. I imagine he'll slot somewhere between the top spot of Sun Tzu and maybe where Bjorn is, but he's going to be decent as an Epic Commander, but it's not going to affect many players who are in Season of Conquest. So Pericles will be Silver Chest, Golden Chest, and Expedition Shop, and Pierce will be the same, but with the daily special offers instead of the silver chest, because legendary commanders aren't available that way. And as I mentioned earlier, he's going to have museum relics as well. So that's going to be interesting, although I don't think they're going to shake up the meta. It will be interesting for players who are newer to the game and going up to their first KvK. So now that we've gotten a little bit further away from the actual Greece update, here are some other updates. We're getting a Storm of Stratagems KvK, which is going to follow up on the building from the Siege of Orleans one and the Warriors Unbound one. So it's going to be a team system, and now it looks like A and S are going to be divided. So it's going to help separate low A's from like Imperium level kingdoms, which can help prevent some of the confusion. You'll matchmake with your own teams very much like you do in King of the Nile and a lot of the other KvKs. The big change is you're going to have stratagems, which are permanent buffs that you can pick, very similar to seasonal strategies, I'm sure, that we had in King of the Nile. Counter rallies can be launched against any enemy rallied army targeting your coalition, which is kind of cool. You don't have to worry about it being limited by alliance or anything of that level. When counter rally is full, it will immediately leave. That is a huge bonus for defenses because that is a big issue for defense points. So that'll help make garrisons more successful. And I'm glad that they didn't extend this to all rallies because that would create a very, very difficult situation for defenders that are defending multiple points. Because a rally that's essentially able to leave immediately by a well-organized enemy is not going to give you time to react and reinforce, whereas the mobilization time gave you time to set up a defense, get everything settled, and it forced the enemy to basically cordon off the area and prevent you from getting close to win the objective. So it helps keep it a little more competitive and helps push it back a little bit towards garrisons and give them a little bit of a helping hand. Because as it stands right now with the swarm heavy meta, garrisons don't stand a whole lot of chance. Alliance arrow towers are going to be implemented. It's not clear what exactly they're going to do specifically, like how much damage these non-allied cities will take. But the wall durability will eventually teleport them away, so that's pretty nice. It does say it's not going to inflict any casualties, but it will be interesting to see how that works when supported with a rally as well. So I don't know if that's going to reduce the troops just as slightly wounded. If that's the case, you're going to see a huge spike in the number of deads and severely wounded taken when a rally hits that city at the same time, just due to the fact that their troops are going to be reduced in effectiveness during the attack. So even if they're not taking any direct casualties, it will be interesting to see how that works. Now we're on to the armament system changes. It looks like we're finally going to get armament transmutation, which is a pretty big deal. You're going to be able to change legendary armaments stats while keeping the inscriptions and the actual armament slot, which is nice. You can lock one or two of the attributes. So if you have two stats of a specific troop type and you want a third, you can lock the two. If you only have one, you can lock the one and then randomize the two. And then if you get the second one, you can lock that one to keep spinning. You're going to be able to pick between the old and the new. So let's say you have 3 stats of infantry, health, defense, attack, and you want the attack to be skill damage on something like a Scipio Prime. You can do that, and then if you don't get the skill damage, you can just keep the attack. You are limited to 10 total times, so you can't just keep messing with it. But in that time, you should be able to achievably at least get 2 or 3 stats that you need, which is going to help a lot. This transmutation is going to take transmutation stones, and it will be affected based on the number of locked stats. I'm guessing the more you have locked, probably the more expensive it's going to be, just because you're trying to fix it better, but it could also be the other way. These stones are going to be through the armament shop and events, which means you're going to have to recycle armaments and then use the armament coins to get these. It's unclear if this is going to be the legendary armament unit items or just the epic, the white ones. Lucerne scrolls, you're going to get formation choice chests and random armament chests, which is going to be nice. I actually think this is a great option. Of course, now you still have them in Alliance Mobilization as well. They're going to be added to Silk Road as well, and then the Civilization event series, which is the China, Brush, and Ink, where you get the gold keys. They're going to be also added here. Lost Kingdom events. There's going to be a lot of added locations, which is going to be nice. So overall, it's going to help a lot. Next, Golden Kingdom's going to be changed. There's going to be 22 new core blessings, which is going to be nice. And then 11 of them are going to be deleted, it looks like. It's unclear how this is going to work, because basically it is going to be nice to have more options, but there is a chance that now you're going to have, since there's so many more, you have less chance of getting specific ones you need if you have a specific build path. So for many it's going to be better, but for some it might make it a little more difficult. Some of the blessings are going to be adjusted in strength, and then healer huts are going to be more often. That's going to be useful. And the additional blessing is going to be great, because in the early stages, sometimes you'll run into 2 healer huts and you just don't need them. Or let's say you're only missing 1% of units. It's better to take the blessing. The Altar of KvK thing is huge too, because before you would get revived at 10% health, and that wasn't going to do you much anyway. So now being able to heal a surviving troop is pretty nice as well. The post-battle stats is just a quality of life thing. You're going to be able to see how well things are performing. And in addition, it looks like you're getting a chat system, which is going to be nice. Next, we're on to some Season of Conquest changes. It looks like Orleans is going to get optimized a little bit, so it's going to make it a little less difficult at the end. Warriors Unbound is going to get some changes. Artifact effects will now apply to Museum Relic bonuses. I don't think that's going to be a huge change because the Museum Relic bonuses are going to be on commanders that typically are used, with the exception of Minamoto or like a farm hunting Sao Sao. It might not make a huge difference. Looks like some of the times have changed, so if you have a spreadsheet where you keep track of the timings, just keep an eye on that because it might change a little bit. The level 7 passes have been reduced. That's going to create fewer battlefronts, which is going to make the ones you do have much more important. Kingsland's been increased in size. Again, it's going to be much more important now, but it's not going to happen to anybody who's already in there, so it's just going to be to anybody in the future. Alliance Mobilization is going to get some probably much needed changes. Alliance Registration is going to get messed around with. That's more for people who are working that way. The quest attempt rules. It looks like you're going to be refunded your quest attempt. This actually happened to one of our players, a guy named Fez. Actually had this happen to him where he completed it and didn't get to turn it in. So now you're at least going to get refunded the attempt. The new quests will be unlocked as you reach higher leagues, so there's going to be more options. And then it looks like you're going to have just a little bit of quality of life. You're going to be able to get to the quest item event pages, and you're going to preview the rewards of higher leagues instead of just trying to guess, which is a huge deal. In addition, it looks like we're getting some PC version optimizations that I'm going to glaze over because they're pretty, like, it's going to be something you're going to want to check out on your own. It looks like they're going to change some Arc of Osiris overlap skills where things are just kind of not working correctly. I wonder if that's going to also come with the speed boost at the start. I wonder if they're going to help that out. In addition, they're going to be changing some of the chat system stuff, which is probably much needed. It's way overdue. A lot of the chat systems kind of messed up. Troop Dispatch is going to give you the hold position after attack in the settings page, so it automatically does that instead of having to click it every time, so that you're not fighting and then your troops march back and then you're fighting and the troops march back, which was a huge issue, especially in large fights where you would start to lag. It looks like they're going to actually let you stay in a flag fort or other building after the construction is completed. This is something I've been calling for forever, so it's a huge deal to me. And in additional, the points within the Alliance flag range will be highlighted. This is great if you're trying to farm resources to get more flags. In addition, it looks like you can have the troop markers flash when you're selecting or targeting a troop with the troop marker. I'm not sure how much of a difference this is going to make. When you're viewing a city of an Alliance member, you can tap the Alliance name on the Governor's profile panel to jump to them on the Alliance members page. That's going to be useful for sending messages, communicating with them, ranking them up, ranking them down, anything like that. So it's going to be decent for R4s, but you're not going to see a major change for a lot of players. But with that, we'll conclude our discussion on this update. Overall, I think it's great. Having a new civilization is obviously awesome. The changes to KvK are great and not too skewed one way or the other. I think it helps balance the game. But let me know what you think. Do you think these changes are positive, or do you think that they're going to cause more harm than good? As always, let me know in the comments. And as always, good luck, fight well, and I will see you on the battlefield.